and gentlemen,
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Here to the final regular season race of season 65 for the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. This is race number 9, and at the conclusion of this evening's 66 laps, we are going to be determining at least 12 drivers. There may be a potential of more, depending on circumstances, that will be battling out in this season's playoffs with a chance of being crowned season 65 champion.
I know, I'm very terrible.
I'm going alongside of the hoodlum Michael Norman and Kyle Matthews. And guys, I mean, tonight is maybe in recent memory the closest battle we're going to have around that 12th and standings cut line. We'll be talking about that position in the points all night long, because that's basically above you're in, below you're eliminated. And coming into tonight, the only drivers that we absolutely know for certain that are going to go playoff racing are the drivers that have taken a checkered flag here this season. Even drivers that are above the cut line, doesn't matter how many points, mathematically, they could be eliminated. You can go way down inside the mid-20s in the point standings here for a driver that potentially could point or win their way in. The table is completely spread for so many different drivers to have maybe a comeback story tonight or to fall from grace.
It just goes to show you how competitive this season has been. I mean, we didn't have our first repeat winner until last week when Ulysses Sandoval took the checkered flag for the second time. So, man, it's just this is going to be fun to watch with all these scenarios.
Is that spread peanut butter? Is it butter? Is it what? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, there's peanut butter on the front row.
With Kelly Causey there, yeah.
I wouldn't suggest putting SDP motor oil on your sandwich, though. I don't know how well. It would probably slide down pretty well, but I don't know about the flavor.
No, but you know, Kyle's right. The intensity that this season has had is going to come to a fruition here soon as we're getting ready for the start of the playoffs. But it's been very fun to watch and to get things set up here. You know, it's like Kyle said, we've had first-time winners, and then we finally had our first ever two-time winner on the season. It's just interesting to see if we can get somebody new to victory lane, or if there's going to be another repeat winner. All I know is I'm hoping for a flip, because I get to show my piano skills if there is one.
Well,
So I think you should let them in on that one.
No, I don't think
there is one. I love how you say if.
Yeah.
One every single week.
Kyle's put away the flip counter. What was it, 3-4 weeks ago?
That thing malfunctioned. I need to get a new one.
Well, these drivers here
tonight. I'll just play one hand so we don't get copyright strikes.
There you go. Perfect. Contingency plans. Please don't sue us, YouTube. 37 drivers going to take this final green flag of the regular season. I thought you were about to say Selena Gomez, and I was going to be very confused. Bob Nixon going to line up on the front row alongside of Kelly Causey, Bob Seminara, Brian Lovell there in row 2, Pat McCarskey, Jeff Crivello, row 3, row 4, Jessica Shelton, Graham McDonald, Donnie Cameron, and Josh Metallic. There's your top 10. David Cannon and Cy Jones, they're back in row 6. Robert Breedlove in 13th place. You got to go all the way back to 14th before you find one of our former winners on the season in Jeremy Jeffries. Sean Prime going to make up row number 8, I believe it is, with John Godfrey, Greg Palmer, and Ron Hagelin. They're back in row 9. Palmer already locked into a victory. Glenn Harris and Mark Paglia, they'll complete your top 20. Ken Roberts and Bobby Farrell back in row 11. Doug Hulick and Brian Schilling, another former winner, back in row 12. Billy Elliser, Tim Nofsker, another former winner of the season. They're back in row 13. You mentioned it, Kyle. Two-time winner now on the season, Ulysses Sandoval. He's locked into the playoffs as he's back in row 14 with Mike Mangialardi. Grant Wesley went to victory lane a couple of weeks ago. He's back with Greg Lovell, completing the top 30. Rodney Sullins is back in row 16 with Bernie Mobbs. Chuck McClure, the furthest back of our former winners, as he'll be in row 17 with Terry Bombard. Denny Carroll, Brian Rawson, and Cody Lamas going to make up our 37-card field here tonight.
Randy?
And green flag is in the air. We are underway, and we're stacking up on the inside line right out of the get-go, and it's going to cause a wreck in the middle of the field, and we've already got one up and over. I think that was John Godfrey.
Well, wait, I don't mean to cheer when someone flips, but...
Also, where's Randy? Outfield is frozen.
Are we going to get a race restart because of that? Because we saw them stack up quite a bit. And that,
where is Randy?
Maybe we do. And to answer your question, he's not in the field here tonight.
No.
I am sad.
No Randy Wah.
Luigi. And I was just told there is going to be a restart. There
All right, so there we go. We'll rack them up. We'll do it again.
Drivers
On the way.
So, yeah, but I can't go back and look at the replay of doing slow-mo of Godfrey flipping, so...
No, wait,
it's
you know what I should do? I should find a bagpipe setting and play Amazing Grace in honor of everyone that wrecked in the first lap.
Do the Braveheart version of My Heart Will Go On.
All I have is a church organ. I don't think that would sound good for Amazing Grace.
No, I don't
church
think...
organ. No, church organ. Okay, guys, we're getting ready to go green. Starts playing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
What was that Daniel Thrasher? Was it? Yeah, it was the Harry Potter theme. All peppy on a pipe organ.
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one?
Have to show me that. You're gonna have to show me that video after.
Oh
this.
yeah. Okay. Well, while we got these guys racked up, let's give what the scenario looks like for each one of these drivers, point standing wise, coming into this one, and we'll start with the drivers above the cut line. So we are going to exclude the drivers that have formerly gone to victory lane. We know Grant Wesley, Ulysses Sandoval, Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Nofsker, Greg Palmer, Brian Schilling, Chuck McClure. Those drivers are safe. They're locked in. They just got to make
sure. Is anybody really safe though?
Points wise, yes. Playoff wise, yes. I
just meant in general, but okay.
Now, Chuck McClure is the furthest down of the drivers that have won this season. Mathematically, he could fall outside of the top 20, but it's not likely. These are the drivers that need good performances here today to either stay above the cut line, stay near the cut line, or get themselves up in the conversation if they're a ways down from 12th. Josh Metallic is the highest driver right now in the point standings without a victory. He is a total of 18 points ahead of the cut line. Denny Carroll is 6th in the standings. He is a total of 23 points above that cut line. Terry Bombard, he's put together a quietly consistent season. He's 8th in points, but he is only 5 points to the good above that cut line. Brian Lovell, he is a total of 4 points to the good above the cut line in 10th. Sean Prime, 3 points ahead of cut line in 11th. And Michael, you mentioned no Randy Waugh in the field. He came in as the 12th driver in the point standings. So looks like he will not be advancing into the postseason. Obviously, even with a provisional, would not be able to get enough points. That leaves it open for these drivers that are below the cut line. Jessica Shelton is 14th in the standings. She's only 6 points back. Rodney Sullins currently sits a total of 18 points below the cut line. I believe I've got that correct. Let me just double check. Yes, 18 points below the cut line in 15th. Total of 22 points back in 16th is Graham McDonald. 25 back in 17th is John Godfrey. And then 19 points back is Mike Mangialardi. 20 points back is Bob Seminara. And 22 points back is Robert Breedlove. Drivers, if they go to victory lane tonight, would win and get up into the top 20 in points, would include Ron Hagelin, Bernie Mobbs, Bobby Farrell, Doug Hulick, Cy Jones, and then even potentially Glenn Harris and Billy Elliser. So theoretically, 27 drivers still have a shot, aside from those that have already locked themselves in, of either pointing or winning their way into a postseason position.
There was a big gap from that third row.
There's a major stack up on the initial start. I think they were really doing everything they can to avoid that, and they did that successfully.
That initial wreck there when they crossed the start-finish line to start this race might have scared a little sense into them here, realizing, hey, it's a long race. In order to finish first, I have to first finish.
Bob Dixon got a pretty good start right there, but the outside line has a lot more cars in it, and I believe Kelly Causey's going to take the lead here.
Yeah, I'm surprised Bob didn't go up to the outside when he cleared him off of turn 2 there.
Kind of ironic here, our front row, Bob Dixon, Kelly Causey, 2 drivers that even if they won tonight could not advance their way into the playoffs. Dixon and Causey 31st and 32nd in points. Mathematically, even with max points, would not have been able to get up into the top 20.
Okay, I was going to say top 20.
I believe neither of them have been in every race. That's probably why.
Third lane forming.
Dixon has been in every race. Causey's missed 2.
Okay. Jessica Shelton leading that outside line now. Josh Metallic, Sean Prime, Jeremy Jeffries, others behind her there.
Shelton just below the cut line. Prime just above the cut line there. Is a little contact back there, a little chain bumping as Sean Prime gets a little squirrely. Causey still not quite able to clear that inside line. Dixon and Seminara have done a pretty good job there of staying alongside.
The 36 isn't pushing, that's why. Like you can see, you'll see the 44 push the 00 all day, but the 36 just isn't on the back bumper and helping push. That's given the third lane more momentum on the outside. Pretty soon we'll see the middle lane dissolve, because usually when they go 3 wide, it helps more of the inside lane than it does the middle lane.
Seeing that middle line, second car, that gray and blue number 44. That's Brian Lovell, just above the cut line coming to this race, 10th in the standings, 4 points to the good. And it is going to make things a little bit more difficult here tonight. I give this every time we have ourselves a regular season finale and playoff stands are being put together. You know, we're going to try our best to eyeball who we think is in, who we think is out, but do not take our words for it. Wait until the point stands are in, and usually the admins here are really good at getting those points calculated before we go off the air. We'll get your playoff scenario for you, but with no Randy Watt in the field here tonight, that 12th in the standings cut line driver, it's going to be really difficult to figure out where that line is according to live standings.
Speaking of points, Jessica Shelton just got a very important bonus point there for leading that lap. That could come into play here.
We've seen
Especially
so
with
many
Randy
times
not
just
being
a
in the
single
field.
point be the difference maker between
Especially
a driver
with,
above or
like
below the cut line.
And like you said, especially with Randy not being in the field.
Another battle that's going on here as well that we'll be keeping
Jess
tabs
got
on
out of
is
line. I don't know why she did that.
might be trying to get back to a safe place here now after getting that bonus point. Job accomplished, at least here in the early going. But
Jabba the Hutt.
something we're going to have to keep an eye on here as well is the battle for the regular season championship that pays out bonus points once everything is reformatted. Grant Wesley and Ulysses Sandoval, after last week, come into this race co-points leaders. They are tied at the top of the standings. Jeremy Jeffries is only 5 points back, with Tim Nofsker, Josh Metallic 18 and 19 points back. If those three drivers there of Wesley, Sandoval, and Jeffries run into trouble here tonight, that opens up the door for another half dozen drivers to maybe get those valuable bonus points, which I believe is 15 bonus points paid out.
Well, maybe just...
Oh, we have trouble!
Big wreck for Ulysses
Sandoval up and over.
Yay, I get to do something.
I saw Doug Hewlick and Brian Schilling also involved in that. Couldn't see through the smoke what other drivers may have been collected. That was a wreck that took place, I believe, somewhere around the 20th position.
Hey, I don't know
Ulysses flips.
Ulysses flips
over.
I don't know what Fox Sports is handling this camera angle, but maybe we should go back and see the people in the wreck.
So Ulysses flips over. First thing I hear out of Michael is "Yay!" Like, wow, I thought you two were good buddies, but okay.
I only said yay because now I get to do something.
Was flipping the spotter's order or the crew chief's order?
Well, no, actually he grip flipped. I think that's what happened. Was he grip flipped?
Tim
Hopefully
Nofsker,
he'll be okay. We've seen people flip and still be competitive here before.
Tim Nofsker, Brian Schilling involved, a couple of former winners. There's Denny Carroll, who's 6th in points above the cut line.
See, Seth, you just had to talk about Ulysses, and now I'm blaming you for this.
It's my job.
Why are there already people blasting fireworks when it's not the 4th of July yet?
Are you sure it's fireworks?
I hope it's fireworks.
Fireworks or gunshots?
Sound like me in that Indianapolis neighborhood we were at where I was like, man, I hope that's Memorial Day fireworks.
Let's see what happened here. Well, Ulysses checked up for something.
Yeah, he really slowed there off the corner.
Yeah, and then watch the grip flip right there. He only flipped once, and he barely touched the ground with the roof of his car.
Oh, that is very strange.
That generic blue car you see there, that's Greg Lovell in the 880.
Well, scroll back a little bit. Let's see what might have caused him. Maybe he was drifting up off the corner and thought getting out of the gas would help him.
Yeah, but the closing rate, the amount that he had to lift there is a lot more than we're kind of used to seeing. But watch it again.
Had plenty of space between him and the 92 there.
Yeah, like.
Or maybe something broke because like you said, he just suddenly maybe he blew up.
Did something break? Did he maybe tab out? Because that just looked like it started decreasing in speed rather than.
Maybe we should go on board with him and see what happened.
Let's listen into the engine, see if there's anything untoward here. This is inside of the 096.
Yeah, you hear how the engine just suddenly stopped? It doesn't even sound like it's going. See, you hear it. It's not on at all.
No, it's not.
He blew up. He had to have.
It's still going.
Well, now he got it going.
It's rolling, though.
Well, then, Kyle, ask our little birdie in race reporter if she has any idea what happened.
I wondered if maybe there was an accidental downshift, but
wait, you got to go back and replay his roll in slow motion for me.
Oh. There you go.
There we go.
Is TB2 better? Oh, TB2's gonna be better. All right, good night, everybody.
That is our own Michael Norman on piano, ladies and gentlemen.
You have to play it only makes it better when you play My Heart Will Go On when someone flips over.
Just wait until somebody does the burnouts. He'll start playing You Spin Me Right Round by Florida.
And I was told that Ulysses didn't say anything about it. In fact, he hasn't really said anything at all. So, don't know.
Little mystery there on the 096, our two-time winner. You mentioned about important points, Kyle. Sean Prime.
I'm
11th in the standings, stays out, gets himself a bonus point for a lap led, and now we'll go to the track position to come to pit road.
We're going to see a lot of that tonight.
I want to answer a question from our chat. I don't believe this series has a paint scheme limit there, Ben.
Not to my knowledge. They have a carp file manager, so you can upload as many schemes as you want.
Cody doesn't have the last pit stall. That's interesting.
No?
Yeah, there's a blank stall behind him.
Well, there's only 37 cars in the field, though, too, so not all the stalls on pit road are being used. Of the drivers that are in this race, he should have the last pit stall, because he rolled off the grid in 37th place.
I mean, I saw a stall behind him.
See who else we've got in our chat here, too. We've got some random guy going woo, so it must be Ric Flair. Or Donnie Garrett, who is not in the field here tonight.
Or was it Zach Ryder? Or would that be woo, woo, woo?
That'd be three woos. Let's see. Got Mud Shovel, who says that Metallic is going to win here tonight. Mark Gonzalez in our chat there. How you doing, Mark? We saw Mark competing in the All-Star race last night over in the Grind Cup Series. And he says that Cody Lamas is going to win.
Nah, Cody Lamas isn't going to win anything.
And Jason Sheck clearing up 3 + 1 special scheme, holiday, cancer awareness, etc. So there is actually a limit. Most drivers that I know of, for the most part, alternate between 2 schemes at maximum.
Yeah, 2 tracks. Usually somebody will have like one scheme for BSR, the other one have one for here at Talladega.
Yeah, because it's a day track and a night track, so
yep.
You can do a day scheme and a night scheme. So after this early caution, we'll rack them up here for the restart. Lap 9 will go on the board. Everybody involved in that incident continuing on. All 37 drivers will be on the lead lap. Robert Breedlove is going to be the race leader, the only driver who did not come to pit road here under this early yellow. Bob Dixon, pole sitter, will line up alongside of him in second with Bob Seminaire, Jessica Shelton, Kelly Causey going to be the top 5. Back underway here at Talladega.
Oh, that 931 got a good restart, but not anyone right close up behind him.
So that Bob Seminaire didn't get the restart that the 931 needed, but he's out and ahead so far.
That restart was made more epic by the fact that I have a Terminator 2 theme playing in the background. I love to experiment with music to make things more epic.
Well, I've got fireworks going on outside my house now as well, and I'm hoping they are also fireworks.
I think on the last lap or 2 to go, you should play the Legends of the Hidden Temple theme for the temple run.
Yep, 3 minutes to spare.
I think it takes them less than 3 minutes to make 2 laps here. I think it take them about maybe.
Well, you got
48
seconds. 48 seconds per lap.
Yeah. So just a little under 4 laps. about maybe 3 3/4 laps.
So I'll start playing it with 3 to go when they're in, or when they're 4 to go, come in the 3 in like turn 3.
Let's bear in mind
And
here as
hopefully
well,
they stay green.
I was just going to say, if we do stay green, let's bear in mind Robert Breedlove is going to have to come to pit road a lot sooner than some of these other drivers. He'll probably been able to save some here under this caution period, but he's going to have to come to pit road before lap 22, lap 23, I would certainly think. Everybody else should be able to make it somewhere in the vicinity of around maybe lap 30.
Thought he was going to pit road right there. He looked like he dove to the inside. Seminara jumped to the outside of him.
Third line forming again. Jessica Shelton leading that third line again. Second time tonight she's been the leader of that. Oh, did Grant Wesley just disappear?
Jason Scheck said, yes, there is a limit.
Oh, no. Grant actually went to the middle line. Okay, I did
So
not
he was right.
see that Quaker State Toyota switch lanes. He was behind Jess, between Jess and Mark Pagley, and then suddenly he wasn't there.
He's usually a bright yellow car.
True.
But also, Jason Scheck said there is a limit.
Yeah, I saw that.
If Brock Beard was calling this race, he would call him the bright yellow fella.
The yellow fella?
He used to say that for Paul Menard back in the day. He used to call he'd have a nick
flying purple people eater?
Well, because of the Menards car, like he had like a nickname for everybody in the field. And it's called Paul Menard, the bright yellow fella.
One-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater.
That outside line, they're gaining a lot of ground right there. Jessica Shelton, Mark Paglia.
Sure,
and I can't tell you that's
to me.
I mentioned about the fact they're drivers like Kelly Causey, Bob Dixon. We see that 55, third car on that outside line of Ken Roberts. These are all drivers that, even if they won, they would not be eligible to get into the playoffs, but I guarantee you they could be the proverbial X factors in this race, the pushers that could help these different drivers that might be in must-win scenarios to get into the playoffs here at the very last minute. And somebody trying to be cool as they go by my window. Get it out of first gear. You got it, buddy.
Bob Seminara's taking the lead here. Breedlove back to second.
Highest of our former winners, Greg Palmer, right now in...
Oh, boy, I don't know who that was. It jumped up there in that second lane right there. Looks like the 97. That was a risky move.
Pat McCarskey. Ooh, and we almost had a little contact between himself and Bob Dixon coming off of turn 2. And now we're getting racy up here at the front again. Breedlove jumps to the outside. Whoa! Of Seminara, who left the door open for Brian Lovell to look to the inside. 3 wide for the top position here coming off of turn 4. Seminara's 19th in points coming into tonight's race. He is a total of 28 points below the cut line. Not necessarily in a must-win situation, but almost borderline. I believe the most points that a driver can get in a single race is 47 points. You get 42, or I'm sorry, correction, make that 49 points. You can get 42 points for finishing first. You get a bonus point for leading the lap. You can get a bonus point for leading the most laps, and then 5 bonus points for winning the race. So if you're at least within that 45 to 49 point range in terms of what type of scenario you're looking for, whether it's in relation to you and that top 20 in the point standings or trying to point your way up into the top 12, that is what basically determines whether you're a long shot eligible driver or you mathematically are eliminated. As Pat McCarskey making some moves there, he's going to go down almost practically by himself and draw up alongside of Kelly Causey. Now here comes some drafting help with Seminara.
Man, he's been all over the place. We've seen him on the very outside, got to the middle, got to the bottom, and he might get to the lead at this point. I mean, he's been on the move.
Checking to see, I believe Pat McCarskey is another driver who cannot get into the playoffs with a win tonight. That's correct. He's 39th in the standings, but definitely trying to make his presence felt here, searching for his first victory in the Talladega Challenge Series.
It's one of the great things about racing. There's always something for everybody. Even if you're not in championship contention or anything like that, you could always go out there and win a race and feel good, you know? You
talk about something for everybody. You know, we haven't given much of an update here these last couple of weeks.
Oh, he hit the apron. That kills the momentum when you hit the apron like that going into the turn.
we haven't given much of an update on the bracket challenge that's been going on here for the Talladega Challenge Series.
Wow, and you made it such a big deal before we went on the air.
I did, and going to give an update on it here and now. Brian Schilling, Terry Bombard fighting it out to see who is going to be the victor on the winner's side of the bracket here this evening. And then they'll wait in the wings for the next couple of weeks to see who's going to be the winner on the loser's side of the bracket to face off in either the final 1 or 2 races of the season to see who's going to be the Season 65 Bracket Challenge champion. Brian, of course, the defending champion of the Bracket Challenge from Season 64. Some of the other matchups we're keeping an eye on here tonight on the loser side of the bracket. Bobby Farrell and Greg Lovell going up against each other. That's the 29th and 30th seed, by the way, taking each other on there. Jeremy Jeffries, who was the 1 seed, taking on Rodney Sullins. Grant Wesley will already advance as he was going to be taking on Randy Waugh. Waiting. It'll happen soon. I guess it won't. Luigi. And then Billy Elliser is taking on Ulysses Sandoval. Those 8 will then become 4 in round 5 of the loser side of the bracket next week when the playoffs begin.
Oh boy, that was close right there. I thought the 22 was going to drive right across the nose of the 9 car, but thankfully they didn't get together and we keep things going.
We've seen Jeff Crivello be pretty consistently up at the front here the last couple of weeks. That Intimidator looking number 36. And a third line starting to charge its way to the front. That's Sean Prime leading that outside line. Remember, Sean came to pit road at the 1 to green. He got that bonus point for a lap led. Started deep in the field, gave up the track position for that bonus point, and now he's been able to make some pretty good progress, get himself back up here now, knocking on the door of a top 5 with Grant Wesley, Chuck McClure, Tim Nofsker, 3 former winners, making 4 former wins with Brian Schilling pushing him there.
Would going up to the outside lane now be a death sentence? That's the question, because, like I said, 3 wide usually always benefits the inside line.
Well, I think you're okay if you're up in the 3rd lane. I think if you're in the middle line, that's where the problem's at, because normally when the 3rd line forms, the middle line gets stalled.
Look at the inside line breaking away there until the 97 decided to go to the outside.
Pat McCarskey going where they ain't. He's going to try something to the outside of Robert Breedlove, but Bob Seminara will move by him. John Godfrey now going to get to the left rear quarter panel as McCarskey thought about trying to tuck down behind the 712. Not able to do so, and he's going to now tuck it behind Brian Lovell. I thought for that camera angle was deceptive. I thought we were potentially going to go 4 wide there, but I didn't realize that Lovell had actually completed the pass around McCarskey as they made their way through the tri-oval.
It's happened before.
Keep an eye on that 931 of Robert Breedlove. Again, remember, he did not come to pit road under the caution period. And so he's going to have to come to pit lane somewhere in the next 3 laps.
Everybody else, right on the back bumper of the 22.
Everybody else is going to be coming to pit road in the next 9 laps or so.
Jessica Shelton's been having a problem with her wheel. It's kind of making her push up a little bit, especially in 1 and 2.
By the way, Seth, I meant to ask you, because it's been a while since we talked about it. When is that special event of yours?
July 20th.
Okay, good. What day is that? A Sunday?
I believe so, yes.
Good. I shouldn't have to request it off work because I usually have Sundays off. So be good. Also, I
believe Breedlove's coming in this lap.
Yeah, he does. I think he might be.
Just saw a radio light up here. Yeah, this is around the time that drivers would have had to come to pit road if we had gone green from the start.
These guys are scaring me every time they get close to each other with bumpers like that. Yep, here he comes.
Coming down all by himself. And if this thing continues to trend green, we'll have to see where he cycles around to after all the pit stops are complete. No guarantee, though, that these green flag pit stops are going to be clean. Well, it doesn't matter. There's a massive wreck in the back.
Holy moly.
Wow.
Did somebody flip again?
I don't know about flip, but there are cars everywhere.
He was on pit road before that caution came
Yes,
out,
he
he could
was.
service and he could get the lead back with this.
You talk about a timely caution.
Yeah, that was a
man.
fantastic timing there for Robert Breedlove. Kelly Causey, who started on the outside of the front row, was in this. Pat McCarsky, who we saw making a lot of moves there. Mike Mangialardi, David Cannon. All four of these drivers, Metallic, Farrell, Rawson, and Lovell, they were all in it. Cody Lamas, I know, was involved. Jeremy Jeffries might have been in it, along with Cyber Jones. I could be wrong. We didn't have the camera on it the whole time, but at least from the slight shot we had there looking back to the start-finish line, it looked like, for the most part, just a lot of spinning. I don't think there was a lot of heavy contact sustained by any of the drivers involved in that wreck.
Was it bad that I was actually experimenting this long? I was experimenting with was my heart will go on when that happened.
That's what did it right there.
Oh,
And McCarthy was in the middle.
Was it another bumper grab or was it a hitbox?
Oh, he just
no!
slowed his...
I think he blew up, just like Ulysses might have.
But he kept going as well.
Maybe he tabbed out.
It's either a tab out or a game freezing thing. That's what it has to be. It's almost the exact same thing that happened to Ulysses Sandoval that brought out the first caution.
Could this be an individual game issue, or could this be a server issue?
I would assume it's an individual game issue because we're seeing it happen to only a couple specific people. It's not seeming to be happening to everybody all the way through the field. Yeah, I think the biggest indicator right there of it being a game tabbing out or a game freezing, and we'll look at it again here, it almost is very similar to what we see when drivers throw in the clutch. You'll see the splitter of the car go down into the racing surface. Watch here as it just kind of bogs down. The front end bogs down right there.
I was just told that, you know, somebody had mentioned that their game had went to desktop or something, like went to their desktop or something. And it sounded like it could have been the 97.
That would make a lot of sense. Like I said, though, we saw that all those drivers there. Let's look at Kelly Kozik. I think he got up in the outside wall, but for the most part, it looked like even those that made contact with something or someone didn't get very much.
Metallic right there. I think we see Cody Lamas spinning in the background. I think that's all he did because he was the second to last car in this whole pack. And then there he goes, just driving by everybody.
Oh, boy, just barely got by the 92 there.
Some pretty good contact for the 00 and the 6, but it is moderate damage, so I think they're going to be okay. That little hit there for Metallic as well. I think everybody involved is going to be all right, but obviously jury is still out until we get these things back up to speed. So interesting the timing of this yellow here as well, because this would have been right around the time that if we had not had the first caution, drivers would have just been completing their first round of green flag pit stop. So really in terms of strategy, it doesn't change a whole heck of a lot. They'll still have to come to pit road at least 2 more times here. That final pit stop somewhere with around 6 to 7 laps to go. That is if after this restart, we go green to the conclusion. As Terry Bombard stays out here, gets himself a valuable bonus point. I mentioned about the fact he's been quietly consistent, and I feel like those are the ones you really have to worry about too, because they just fly under the radar. Terry coming to this race 8th in the point standings. And here's the interesting thing about this, guys. He's above the cut line. He's 8th in the standings. Guess how many top 5s he's got?
0.
Guess how many top 10s he's got?
0, I'm guessing?
1.
1, okay.
1 top 10 this season, and he's 8th in the point standings, which...
That is...
You know, we've talked about this before. If you finish top 15, top 20 every week, when everybody else is either finishing top 5 or outside of the top 30, inconsistently, you're going to garner more points than they are.
So yeah, that's being consistent. It all adds up.
So as we said, that timing of that caution paying huge dividends for Robert Breedlove. Robert is borderline in a must-win situation. He is the 20th driver in the standing. So if he goes to victory lane here tonight, he's obviously above that cut line. So he would lock himself into the playoffs. Looking right now to see what the gap would be between him and 12th in the standings. It is a total of 30 points between him and that cut line, which is manageable. He could make up that amount of points, 31 points between himself and the cut line, which right now is the driver not in the field in Randy Waugh. So, again, like I said, that cut line is continually moving with not having the driver that's 12th in the standings in the field. But for Robert Breedlove, I think pretty much top 5 is what he has to do to be able to have even a mathematical shot of getting into the playoffs. But it looks like, especially with the strategy in the early going, he's definitely treating this as a must-win.
I mean, you're right there on the cut line. Like, why not at that point?
Once again, here under the second caution, all 37 drivers that took the green to start this race will take the green here at the conclusion of lap 25. All will be on the lead lap. Breedlove, with the timing of that yellow, is going to inherit the race lead back. He'll have Greg Palmer to his outside, Jessica Shelton, Bob Seminary, Grant Wesley, the top 5, with John Godfrey, Jeff Crivello, Tim Nofsker, Chuck McClure, and Rodney Sullins going to be your top 10. It's going to be all Chevrolets on the first 2 rows as the AC Delco 931 gets us back green here at Dega. And you saw the second and third cars in each respective line trying to time that restart. Give the bump at just the right time to move their respective lanes forward.
Looks like Breedlove gets a little bit better of a start there.
Oh, wow! How did we not wreck right there? There was major bumper grab between Jeff Crivello and Bob Dixon.
Shelton goes to the outside. Breedlove follows her up there.
Grant Wesley going to get trapped on the bottom. He'll have Jeff Crivello now closing up on him. John Godfrey went up to that third lane off of turn 2, and now he'll tuck in behind Bob Seminara.
Yeah, I would say there's still not going to be a lot of momentum on the outside, though. I meant to say on the inside, sorry.
Some drivers further back there outside of the top 15, creating a third lane. I think I saw Josh Metallic up there. Kelly Causey. They were involved in that last wreck, so trying to gain back that track position. I mentioned as well, we've had 8 previous races so far here this season. 7 drivers have gone to victory lane. Those drivers are all locked into the playoffs right now, but it doesn't mean that they don't still have something to race for, because if you win here tonight, guess what? That's an extra 5 bonus points towards where you're positioned in the playoff standings. This Sandoval obviously would be at the top there in terms of bonus points with 2 victories, but for Greg Palmer or Tim Nofsker, Grant Wesley, you get a second victory here as well. You kind of rendered those extra 5 bonus points in the camp of the 096 null and void, and maybe could tie him for the number 1 seed starting next week. At Talladega Superspeedway, the venue where everything seems to be taking place here in Season 65. It's where we opened up the season. It's the conclusion of the regular season here tonight.
Shelton looking for the lead.
It's where our 3 elimination races will be, well, actually, no, I should say 2 elimination races will be taking place, and where we, at the end of the season, will ultimately be crowning a Season 65 champion. Oscar's going to have a big run there on Breedlove. Waits till the exit of the tri-oval, gives a shove to him. Palmer moves up to try and block that, or maybe take that momentum to the front. They'll stack up side by side for second. Shelton now going to try to control both lanes.
Jessica had a little bit of a lead there. A little bit of a gap back to the battle for second. Falls back. Now even here with Palmer for the lead. She's got Bob Seminara right behind her.
And now Breedlove going to bail. He's going to go up to the top side there, and looks like he's going to fall to the back. I was just thinking about this too. It's tough enough for us up here in the booth looking at the point standings and not having the 12th in the standings driver in the field, so not really knowing where that cut line is. When we talk to drivers every season and we get down here towards the close of the regular season, they are always aware of the scenario. Oh,
Trouble.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, there's a wreck in
wreck.
the back. Well, watch out. Someone up here, too.
Brian Rawson was around there. Doug Hewlick, Donnie Cameron in it. Is everybody going to slow up here?
They take the caution there? I believe they did.
Frozen. It's frozen field at this point, so everybody slows with care. Saw some damage on the 044 of Brian Lovell. You can see that there on the left side. He's a driver that came into this race 10th in the point standings, only 4 points above the cut line. He can ill afford a bad run here tonight. Maybe Pat McCarskey's side Jones involved, or maybe they were able to just make their way through. Let's take a look and see what happened. It seems like exit of the Tri-Oval has been the trouble spot here tonight. A lot of things have been happening here just crossing the start-finish line. Is it Doug Hewlick in the 23?
Let's watch.
Ooh,
Yep.
Gets a bump there from his teammate, Graham McDonald.
That's a bad place to bump draft right there. I think they were still like right on the exit of the Tri-Oval and not quite straight.
You saw the 003 of Dave Cannon kind of moving up there in the Tri-Oval. And that might have had Doug Hewlick lifting just a little bit. He had his teammate Graham McDonald on his back bumper and the contact made. Down into Brian Lovell.
Oh, they were still in the middle of it. What am I saying?
Donnie Cameron almost gets through this, and then right there just gets a late hit to Brian Rawson. But the 044 tank slapped the outside wall with the left side of his race car. And normally when you see visible damage on a race car, that could be bad news. We'll have to see if that car is up to speed, or maybe if they can beat out that sheet metal and have him still remain competitive as the bonus point games continue here. Now add Jeremy Jeffries to that list. Now Jeremy's already locked in with a victory. So you might be wondering, well, what is he going for here with this scenario? Well, there's 15 bonus points if you win the regular season championship here tonight. And Jeremy was 5 points below Grant Wesley and Ulysses Sandoval. So who knows? This one lap led bonus point could be a difference maker.
He knows that Ulysses has been in a couple of accidents tonight. Still out there, though. Don't know how bad the damage is on his car, if he has any. So
we'll probably see him come to pit road this lap. Graham McDonald taking the responsibility for the incident, kind of be coming down pit road on the second lap as well. So that'll turn the race lead over here to Jessica Shelton. But I was going to ask, just before that caution came out, I can only imagine how difficult it's got to be here, specifically this season, with how close the points are. You don't have the cut line driver in the field here tonight to really know what you need this evening in terms of a performance to make sure that you're going to be safe. I mean, a lot of times you can kind of gauge who the 12th in standings driver is and say, okay, I need to finish 10 positions ahead of him or 20 positions ahead of him. I may be in a must-win scenario, but all those scenarios are not there for these drivers now.
My voice, I don't know where it went. But do you actually sit there and do all that math, or do you just go out there and race and pray?
They do the math. I've asked them. I've thought to myself, they probably have tunnel vision, just thinking, let's be aggressive and whatever happens, happens. No, they count cars. At over 190 miles per hour, they look at their F2 and they count
illegal.
Cars.
That's illegal.
As bad as I am at math, I couldn't do that. I would just have to take the race and pray off. Get to the front, stay to the front if possible. That's the only strategy I would have.
Cross the line, first question. Did I make
That's
it?
Right. That's right.
All right, hold on. Wait. Okay.
He just killed a mosquito for anybody wondering.
What'd you say?
I said you just killed a mosquito.
Yeah, sure did.
Every time somebody opens up a can of something, a mosquito croaks. Jessica Shelton going to elect the top side here for this restart. So Bob Seminara, the second place driver, will be on the bottom. Greg Palmer, Tim Nofsker, Rodney Sullen's going to be the top 5. Haven't talked much about Rodney here tonight. First appearance here inside of the top 5. 15th in points coming into tonight. Some good performances out of some drivers that really needed it. Below the cut line, but a decent finish could put them above. Jessica Schulten has so far led 5 laps this evening. Bob Seminara has been up in the top 5 for the last 10 to 15 laps of this race. And he was 19th in points coming into this one. Sullen's 15th in points. And John Godfrey has been up here inside the top 10 to top 15. I believe he's restarting in 10th. He came into this race 17th in points. So it's great for all of them that they're running well. The bad news for all of them is everybody else around them is running well. So it just makes things even closer for who might be the ones advancing and the ones that'll be just on the outside looking in.
What I want to know is, like, are they like these these drivers that are close to the cut line? Are they are they happy that Randy Wall's not in the field, or does that just complicate things even more?
I feel like it's a 50-50. I feel like you think your mentality is, first off, that's a driver I can pass at least. But the problem is you don't have that benchmark. You don't have that boundary line of knowing, where am I in relation to it. So I feel like it kind of cloudies the water a little bit here for these guys. Halfway home. Green flag back in the air. Third restart of the night. All drivers still on the lead lap at this point in time. It'll take them about 1.5 laps to 2 laps to be up to full song, and us to know about drivers potentially with aero damage. We'll keep tabs on that here. As Seminara Palmer get clear, they'll move up in front of that outside line with Schulten, Nofsker, and McClure. Inside line now left with 5 cars being led by Rodney Sullens. And I just looked, and a big reason why we haven't talked much about Rodney Sullens here tonight is he started out back. He started in the 31st position, so he's had to pass a lot of cars here halfway through this race. Matter of fact, so is the driver just in front of him now. This is a great look at the pace car. Chuck McClure.
Okay, well, even if he didn't start in the back, he still made his way pretty much up here.
He did. Chuck McClure also started out back, started 33rd, and now he's up into the 5th spot. Driver who won the first race.
Check up on Ulysses. I see him in the back
He's
there.
Right there in the
Still seems to be, even though he flipped a little bit, he still seems to be at least up to speed for the most part.
Looks like everybody is up to speed here. The 044 of Brian Lovell. There he is behind Jeremy Jeffries. Last trailing car in this pack is Brian Rawson along with Denny Carroll and Cody Lamas, but they all appear to still be up here in the draft. So it looks like we're all good to go. Everybody up to speed.
Yeah, you played "My Heart Will Go On" for Ulysses. I guess that translated into "My Car Will Go On." It's doing pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Every night in my dreams.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it though too, Michael. That flip was kind of quick. He didn't spend very much time on his roof, so didn't get that
I pointed that out.
That's what I just said. I just gave you credit, and now you're arguing at me for giving you credit.
I argue with everything.
Here you go, sir.
We've been friends long enough. You should know this.
Here you go, sir. Here's your meal, and you get a $30 coupon as well. I don't want a $30 coupon.
$30? Why is it not more?
Yeah, exactly. Sir, your meal is only $15. I don't care.
Sir, your meal's only $30. The best I could do is $20.
Start auctioning it off. Inside line is kind of fizzled out. Was 5 drivers. A couple of them have been able to move their way up into the middle line. Brian Schilling, Grant Wesley, Mark Paglia still stuck down there. For Schilling and Wesley, they're both locked into the playoffs through victories. Paglia coming into this race is way down in points, so he cannot advance his way into the postseason even with a victory. He was 37th in points coming into tonight. Is now Josh Metallic moving low there in the 39. And we talked with Josh before we came on the air here this evening in our usual pre-race meeting, and he said, I'm pretty safe above the cut line, but just to make absolute certainty, I'm going to kind of treat this race as a must-win scenario. And it's interesting, too, because, like, you know, for a number of drivers that might be kind of safe above that cut line, I kind of like that mentality. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I can tell you that, at least personally for me in superspeedway racing, when you race aggressively and you race with purpose, if you're going to make a move and you commit to it, you've got a better chance, I think, of being successful. When you race a little bit more conservatively and kind of second guess all of your moves, that's when you make mistakes.
Well, everybody saw that inside line was coming. Here, the 38 was leading it, and then we saw the 9 and the 22 and the 712 all get down to the bottom. Now Tim Nosker is leading the line on the in the middle line right now.
Yeah, you know, it's watching these cars go from side to side and lane to lane like this just shows you, you know, it's having raced here, it's hard to pick a lane to go to the front. You're in the back, and if you're in the back and you want to go to the front, you've got to have patience, because one wrong move can send you way back than where you started from.
Got Bob Seminara out in front, and he's got someone in our YouTube chat cheering him on, saying, "Let's go, Bobby Biscuits." Seminara looking for his first win on the season.
Biscuits and gravy!
Right now, with where he's running, I would hazard a guess that he would be above the 12th and standings cut line. Same for Jessica Shelton there in third.
Well, if he were to win, you said he came into
it's an automatic lock.
19th in points, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Boy, and I don't know what it is. It might be this mod, or maybe I just didn't notice it back when they used to run the Aero 88s, but that bump going into turn 3, I mean, these cars, they jostle side to side when they dip down there into that banking.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely see it there. That would be nerve-wracking for me if I saw that.
Seen a couple of drivers back there starting to make their way forward. The Citgo number 31 Dodge of Bernie Mobbs. Or actually, no, correction. I believe he's a Chevrolet now. I'm so used to him, but when he was a Dodge back when he was driving the 90, but I believe he's actually moved over to the Chevrolet camp here. There you see him on that inside line behind John Godfrey, one of our drivers coming tonight that's kind of in the must-win scenario. And I think right behind him was Greg Lovell as well. Ooh, we're going to have a drag race to the stripe. I think Rodney Sullins. Yes, indeed. First lap that he's going to lead here tonight. Oh, actually, no correction. That's his second.
Speaking of that 31 car, he's around.
And that's going to bring out a caution. Oh, man, these corner wrecks have been deadly this season, and it's going to sweep up a bunch of them here. Jeremy Jeffries, Kelly Causey, Brian Lovell, Graham McDonald in this.
I think the commentator's first struck again.
I think it did. Terry Bombard, Ron Hagelin, Jeff Crivello. I'm pretty sure Sandoval was in it.
This is an interesting time for that caution. We're on lap 41.
We would still be short, even with this pit stop, somewhere about 3 to 4 laps short of making it the rest of the way. Rodney Sullen's going to bring them back here to the start-finish line, as I believe we had just crossed 15 to go. So it was, I believe, race back. Not sure. It might have still been frozen field. Let's take a look and see what happened there. So it's up towards the front of the field as well, and looks like maybe a late bump into the corner here by Greg Lovell, who in turn was kind of getting shoved into the corner by Bobby Farrell. So they were pretty stacked up there on that inside line.
And Cody. So, he flipped.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he almost did. I go away. I step away to use the commentator's room, and I come back, and this happened.
So that's a strike on the 48 for plowing.
Right? Yeah.
Write that down.
Right. Yep, Ben, write that down right now. for Daytona, Cody Lamas start one in park.
Looking at that, I'm
No, I
yeah,
think Cody
I'm
was
almost
slow.
How
I'm
did
almost
Ulysses
thinking.
make it through that? He stopped. Well, I mean, he's fighting the banking now, but go on board the 96.
Well, hold
Watch
on.
him.
Before I do that, we talk about checkup on the inside line. I think it was actually the 92 that might have initiated this. Watch the closing rate here. The white car on the inside line. Watch as he closes up here on that generic blue car. So Greg is on the back bumper of the 31. And then you'll see right here, when the 92 gets to him, it kind of pushes him up the track into the 31. So I think it was major checkup that took place right there.
Just the accordion effect there, and yeah, wow, Ulysses just getting by, like you said. Well, a little bit of contact there at the 0.
Did his right side tires come off the ground?
Why did you sound British when you said that?
British.
Why did my tires? I can't do the accent.
Was that like you sound like Christopher Walken?
What is this? An office or a mosaic?
It sounded like a combination of a southern accent and a British accent. Just
Boy, what do you fancy a spot of tea?
A southern accent?
Shut up. All right, let's look at Cody Lamas.
In the words.
Or sorry, not Cody Lamas. I meant to say Ulysses.
In the words of Ryan Stiles, a French accent?
Oh yeah.
and right in front of him.
And then watch him fight the banking.
Right, wheel spin there in first gear.
What's that? 36.
Nicely done.
That's like 36 degrees of banking. Yeah, it's gonna have that. I kind of hope Ulysses finishes top 3 because I want to ask him what happened. 36 degrees of banking.
Brian Rawson going to stay out and lead a lap. Now Brian comes into this race too far down in the point standings to be able to point his way into the playoffs. He is, I believe, one of the borderline drivers that maybe could win his way into the top 20. I believe he was 37 points below the 20th in the standings cut line coming into tonight. So he was within that 47-point range, but he is definitely in a must-win scenario. Looks like he just is getting the bonus point here. Kelly Causey also stayed out. It's going to turn the race lead over now to Rodney Sullins. As we saw right there, Chuck McClure come back up onto the racetrack. Tried maybe a little late dive to pit road. Try to sucker some others in to top off the fuel tank, but doesn't look like anybody behind him bit.
Looked like a few drivers tried doing that and didn't see any extra people come down pit road. So, and the lights are off on the pace car.
Working our 4th caution of the evening, but very impressive. We have not need to use the lucky dog so far here tonight. Everybody that is taking the green flag to start have all remained on the lead lap. And at least up to this point, everybody has appeared to be able to still be up to speed and competitive. But this is an elimination race, so to speak. This is where the playoff grid is getting put together. And gentlemen, we're entering into the last third of this race. So I feel like the aggressive level is going to kick up now. And things might start to get a little clearer of drivers and their possibilities of getting into the postseason.
Well, I hope we don't see anything catastrophic here. I like what I've seen so far, but you just mentioned it, the aggression level and all the possibilities of who's making it in and who's not. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
And we are going to be restarting with 22 laps to go. We are outside of the window to make it on fuel. These drivers are going to find themselves anywhere from 1 to 2 laps short.
Always going to make it more interesting that way with the fuel strategy.
Do you remember the last time we had a scenario of 1 to 2 laps short on fuel?
Oh boy. Uh-huh.
It was right here at this venue. We saw Brian Schilling be able to make it on fumes. We saw a number of drivers from turn 2 all the way around to the start-finish line coasting out of fuel and not able to make it back to the checkered flag. If we go green here to the end, we could be in for a scenario just like that, and it would be in the regular season finale. So you talk about a point shaker. Could definitely be just that. And think about it as well. If we end up going green the rest of the way, final pit stop of this race could be a difference maker as well into whether you're getting to the playoffs or whether you are running out the rest of the regular season not battling for a championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series. As here we go, 22 laps to go. Rodney Sullins will get us back underway alongside of Ken Roberts, with Bob Seminara, Greg Palmer, and Tim Nofsker going to be the top 5. Someone back there didn't get going. Might have been Pat McCarskey. They've already split him 3 wide. Sullins, I think, going to try and tuck up here in front of Ken Roberts.
Why is it that every time I hear Pat McCarskey, for some reason my mind goes to Mike Wazowski?
I don't think he could fit in one of those cars.
And even if they did, they would get a camera shot of him where like the A-pillar is blocking his face or something.
Yep.
But we have had a plethora of drivers that have been out in front here tonight. We've talked about the importance of the bonus points. Robert Breedlove has led the most laps so far this evening. He's the only driver that's hit double digits, 12 laps out in front. Our current leader, Rodney Sullins, has led 6, 7 laps led for Jessica Shelton, 5 for Bob Seminara, who's trying to get the race lead back here from Sullins. 3 laps rather for Kelly Causey, 2 laps led apiece for Greg Palmer, Josh Metallic and Bob Dixon are pole sitter, and then 1 lap each for Sean Prime, John Godfrey, Terry Bombard, Jeremy Jeffries, Brian Rawson, and Pat McCarskey. A lot of those drivers I just mentioned are all battling for something in some way, shape, or form, whether it's for a playoff spot, whether it's for the regular season championship, which right now that is also, it seems, a little too close to call. I think I would give the edge to Grant Wesley, who's currently in the 12th position, at least he was last time by. Ulysses Sandoval, who he was tied with, is 17th in points, and Jeremy Jeffries, who is 5 points back, is mired back in 28th.
Well, you're trying to do live points now?
Huh?
Are you trying to do like live points now?
Maybe.
Don't do that, Seth. Remember you told us not to trust you.
I said not to trust me. It doesn't mean I can't do it. You have the choice on whether to believe me or not.
Now, Kyle, what I was going to say to you is, remember how you told me to play Legends at the Hidden Temple in the final couple laps?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I should because of these guys' fuel cells.
Oh, boy.
When the music stops, you're out of fuel.
Is there an actual song that has to do with running out of gas? Maybe that's what you need to play.
No, that would be Sonic's drowning music at that point. Here, low on gas. You see your tachometer start to lower down. You just hear the Sonic drowning music in the background. Nothing like a sense of urgency at that point.
Looks like one driver that kind of adopted the ride at the back early strategy was Denny Carroll. When we looked at the rear of the field,
he did
around
get
the
involved in a
point.
wreck.
Well, he did, but then after that, he kind of seemed to still kind of chill out back. A driver that comes into this race above the cut line, but certainly wasn't mathematically safe, now making his way forward here as we are past 20 laps to go.
Now the question is, when will Cody Lama start to make his way up towards the front?
Never.
Yeah, that's true. Never.
Does Cody have any damage on the front of his car? We saw him get into, I forget who that was, but
I don't think so.
I believe it's the 31 car that he got into. But see him running back there.
I don't see any damage on his car just from these angles.
Kelly Causey's been in a few incidents tonight, and he may actually have damage that has him off the pace. I think he might have just lost the draft, because it happens in this. You don't have nobody behind you. If you don't stay tucked up or lose even the slightest bit of momentum, you're not going to catch up. Glenn Harris trying to stay latched on to McCarskey, who's trying to stay latched to
Cody's hitting 200 miles an hour, so I think he's just using the iRacing strat. That probably isn't going to work here.
Fastest lap of the night, 47.545, equating to 201.214 miles per hour. Mike Mangialardi currently has that. And Rodney Sullins just became the second driver to lead double-digit laps here tonight. Just led his 10th lap that last time by.
Who's got the most laps led again?
12
Breedlove.
total for Breedlove. It's like our top 6 single file here. Godfrey and Seminara alongside of each other. Nofsker trying to help Seminara on that inside line. Wesley trying to keep the momentum going in the middle line.
Only 2 lines right now, surprisingly. So Wesley now jumps to the inside right in front of Seminara. He's going to lead this group now.
Well, we might have seen a third line if everybody knew they could make it on fuel. I think at this point, the reason we're not seeing a third lane form is for 2 reasons. One, it's the longer way around the racetrack, so you're using up more fuel doing that anyway. And secondly, you want to make sure that you're going to have a somewhat easy access onto pit road, and it might be tough to do that if you're stuck on the top side of a 3 wide situation once we get to that window. So I think we, at this point in time, we're basically seeing that we're settled in and we're in the mentality of race to the pit stops. I showed the pace car right there, hoping we're not going to need it the rest of the night.
Right. So, real quick, on a subject of racing, something that might actually interest Kyle, even though I'm sure he knows it by now, but Dave all but confirmed Days of Thunder 2.
Oh, it has been confirmed.
Yeah. They are, Jerry Bruckheimer, producer, has said that it is in the works.
Well, we've already done Days of Thunder, so wouldn't it be some more Days of Thunder?
Some more Days of Thunder. S'more.
S'more.
I'm curious.
That,
I'm curious to see what kind of plot line they'd go with.
This is a sequel I would have loved to seen here 15, 20 years ago. I don't really know how it would fit in today, but
I think about it. Maybe nowadays, Tom Cruise or you should say Cole Trickle and Rowdy Burns have formed a racing team. I'm not sure, or maybe it could be all about. Remember in the first movie when Trickle said that he wanted to go to Indianapolis. You got to remember that movie was made before NASCAR even actually went to Indianapolis. So maybe he'll get to race his dream. Maybe he'll try to do the Indy 500 or something. Maybe Days of Thunder will be more about IndyCar instead of NASCAR. Who knows? I'm just very curious to see how they're gonna what kind of plot line they're gonna have with it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've been comparing the NASCAR stock cars to Indy cars. The stock cars sound more like Thunder. The Indy cars do not sound like Thunder at all.
Oh yeah. It's just told that the under the projected laps for fuel here, it's going back and forth between a half can and a can.
Ooh, would you push it? That's the question, because you can wait till the very end of the run, and are they gonna leave him? Rodney Swan's able to get in front. Would be when do you want to pit? Because if you pit with what, Seth, 5 to go, you could probably take that half can.
That's the thing. So interesting you bring that up, Kyle, because that actually puts us even further away from the window that I projected with the number of laps we have left. If we are hovering between would you say a half can to a can?
That's what, 5
so yeah, we're 5
to 10 laps.
We're between 5 to 7 laps, 5 to 7 laps short. So
with 13 to go, it was showing 11 projected.
Okay.
So you're 2 laps short regardless. But a 5-lap fill up versus a 7 to 10 lap fill up, Seth. I mean, I'd go with the 5.
Honestly, yes, I agree. I would go with the 5 as well. So we probably wouldn't see these drivers make that final pit stop.
About 7 to go, give or take.
Oh, I think you could maybe stretch it until maybe lap 61, maybe the completion of lap 62. If you're Sullins, however, I think that you're going to have to pit probably lap 60 to 61. I don't think you can go that far because
we've got
the majority of this run.
We've got 11 laps to go, or 10 and a half right now.
And we're obviously as well seeing some of the drivers that were off the pace there after some incidents. We saw Pat McCarskey go a lap down. David Cannon just went a lap down as well.
And now these drivers have migrated to the inside of the racetrack. Remember, they were just running the middle lane. Who's that? Is that the 55 behind their
Yes, it
in
is. Yeah, it's
second
Ken
place?
Roberts. And remember I said, there's a lot of drivers here tonight. There's no way they're going to be able to get into the playoffs with a victory. They could be here to try and help some people out, be the proverbial X factors to help push somebody into the playoffs. I've been keeping an eye here. The 30 and the 55, they have stayed hooked up pretty much the entirety of this race. Even when they were back in the top 15, top 10, Roberts was a big part in Sullins being able to work his way through the field and up here to the race lead. So I would not be surprised to see this 55 pretty committed to the 38, maybe try and push him to the victory here tonight, get him into the playoffs.
But can he drive 55?
He has for quite a long time, as someone's
coming to pit road.
Couple cars. Tim Knopfsker on pit road. Brian Schilling.
Interesting.
Chuck McClure.
4 drivers with nothing to lose. All former winners. All coming down pit road together.
I see
That's
radios lighting up.
That's a little bit earlier than what we were projecting.
Yeah, but bear in mind, we're locked in. Let's do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take the full can now.
Get yourself a timely caution like Robert Breedlove. You cycle up there to the front for a late race restart. I love this call. Why not?
The window is open, so
but if you're one of these lead cars up here that don't have a win, then you obviously have to wait till at least 5 to go.
Yes, I think so. I don't think you can do
out
of the back
Shelton
strategy.
Coming down pit road, and a couple of others behind her.
Brian Lovell's coming in, Greg Lovell as well, Ron Hagelin, and Robert Breedlove.
Close. I'm not.
44 locked them up there. It looked like.
Yeah, you can't turn your car when you're hot pitting like that. You cannot turn it. You turn it, you're spun. You will spin out.
Get your car load up there as well, because you get a black flag here on this pit stop, you're basically done. There's no time you're going to have to be able to gain back any track position lost if you have to do a pass through.
I don't know about that. I don't know what strategy Jess was thinking. I personally feel like I would have stayed out a little bit longer.
I think maybe the first 4 coming to pit road, maybe everybody else noticed that, and it kind of, maybe they're playing off that.
I think we got more coming in this time.
Yep.
Denny Carroll's in, John Godfrey. Oh, most of your leaders here at the front coming in.
Well,
Sullins.
this is what's going to happen if we're going to get a caution or not. It'll end up being around right here.
Contact. There goes Farrell into Seminara. They're in the infield grass. That will not bring out a yellow.
That will not bring out a yellow. And I think they made the commitment cones. They shouldn't get a penalty.
That might take Seminara out of the running now for a playoff position. Metallic, the race leader. You saw right there the group led by Grant Wesley going by the group that was comprised of Greg Lovell and Jessica Shelton. So they're all going to try and maybe form together into a pack.
If they can keep
now
up.
The leader.
If they can keep up, because I think the Grant Wesley pack might just drive away.
Yeah, they had a lot of momentum.
I think everybody pitting now. I mean, I feel like that first 4 kind of, that was a reaction to those 4 coming down pit road. And contact there, Sandoval and
that was Terry Bombard. Yeah,
Bombarded.
Whoa, we got trouble. Bob
Dixon
Dixon's around. Doug Hewlick. Bernie Mobbs tried to get to the inside to avoid them. He had some contact.
And these are where the mistakes are going to cost you track position.
Yes, indeed. And they may not necessarily be mistakes caused by you, but you could feel the ramifications of them.
Someone's lagging on pit road there.
Yeah, I saw that. Was it Mangialardi, I think?
It might have been. Tim Knopfsker. Look at this. Knopfsker in front of the 88.
Oh, Paglia going to get spun.
Oh, that could be the caution if he comes back up the track. Stop. Get it straight. Get it straight. I think he's okay.
Question is, do we have oncoming traffic? We're still green. He's rolling. Leader right now is Jeremy Jeffries, and it looks like somebody, is it John Godfrey? No, Denny Carroll has been hit with a black flag for speeding.
Oh.
Paglia is going to bring it onto pit road, so we will avoid the caution.
Who is the leader? Is
it was Jeremy Jeffries. I believe now it's Jeff Crivello.
Oh, I thought maybe, okay, yeah, Crivello and then Ulysses behind him.
We saw Ulysses play a little fuel strategy last week, and he got the timely caution for him to collect the win. I don't know
what his strategy is. These cars are spinning coming to pit road. I would have come down pit road already. Well, think about it. If you can get a big enough pack to come down with you and you only got to take the half can, you can get out of pit road faster than the rest of these drivers, and only have to worry about them catching you at a certain time. Oh, Ulysses isn't going to make it. Oh, he's not going to make it.
Causey's going to go around.
Causey.
Dixon coming back in. He must have been hit for speeding. Donnie Cameron in. But we are just flirting with a caution coming out here, it seems. Oh, and there it is!
There it is.
And Ulysses was on pit
Mark
road.
Paglia.
And
Paglia
Ulysses was once
around.
again on pit road.
Who's going to be the leader is the question here.
If
We're
Ulysses-
racing back.
If Ulysses comes down pit road, gets half can, and gets out in front of these leaders and crosses the line, imagine.
This could be. It could be that kind of a scenario. Let's see. Nofsker coming back to the stripe. Let's see if he crosses with the lead or not. Or did Sandoval and company get out ahead? Sandoval got out ahead,
Wow.
as did Jeff Crivello. So they're going to be the top two.
Talk about everybody trying to make, the playoffs here.
Wow, you could
Ulysses
not
Sandoval with the lead.
You could not have timed that better.
I'm getting
Him and-
flashbacks to I believe it was the second race when Burnt Screwdriver's race was added onto the schedule. Doug Hulick had the same thing happen, a late race caution. All he had to do was make the few hundred feet to the start-finish line to pick up the caution, and that got him his first win of his career.
Question is, will they be able to get a restart? I was
They
just
will.
told they're trying to, but
If Ulysses won this off of that strategy, I swear to God.
We do have some lap cars.
They should, even with if they could punch the code or whatever down, they should
More
hopefully
like a
be able.
guideline.
Yeah, they should be able to get it the one to go this time by. I hope. If they don't, then the race might be over.
See what happens with Mark Paglia. This was over in 3 and 4.
Did Mangialardi just punt him?
That's Makarski actually behind him.
Okay, yeah. The heck?
wow.
Or did his game tab out too? Because that looked like he just suddenly stopped.
Almost looked like he slowed there too, right? We'll show another angle of it. The field was approaching this duo as well. And then when we watch Paglia spinning around in 3 and 4, we're then going to cut up here to
Yeah,
Sandoval.
he shifted to neutral.
Oh,
It shifted to neutral. Did his car blow up? That's a question.
it might have.
That would have brought out a yellow anyways, unless he clutched it.
And then here's the battle, maybe for the win. And how
Yeah,
tough is
I wanna
when you
see
got
how
the caution
close.
now, how tough is it to not speed? Because you're thinking, I got to get back to the start-finish line before everybody else, but if you speed here, then you're going to the back anyway.
Right there, yep. And then everybody else drives by.
Unbelievable.
All right, now I really want to see, is this race going to end under yellow or not? Because
Now
if he
this
does,
is a bit of a break in a sense.
oh, it might. If we don't get the one to go this time, the race is over.
No, I was going to mention, though, here, this is also a potential break for Denny Carroll because he got a black flag there under green. The caution comes out, so if he's able to come down and serve it, he at least will be up here with other cars and be able to try and pick up positions late if we do get that one-lap shootout. If he doesn't serve it here, I would assume that there would be a disqualification since he
Unless
received
they-
it under green flag conditions. I don't think it would get cleared here under yellow.
Well, I think at this point they'd have to clear it and just tell him that he needs to serve it.
It would just be a. Well, no. What would be the point of clearing it if he has to serve it?
To not get himself disqualified, unless you think he'd still have to just come down pit road
Well, if
under
he still
caution.
has the black flag and he doesn't serve it, that would be a post-race EOL regardless, I would think. But again, it might be completely a moot point if we end up not being able to go back green here. Kelly Causey is the only driver a lap down, as Pat Makarski, Mark Paglia have retired out of the
I think
race.
I think the 00 thinks we're gonna go green because he's up there. I think for the lucky dog.
So we might be getting expedited caution period here for a one-lap shootout. We'll see here. Do the lights go out on that bright red Chevrolet Camaro? If they do, it will be 2.66 miles to determine our playoff grid. Consider this as well. Ulysses Sandoval going to be restarting as the leader. Grant Wesley going to be lining up in the 4th position. Remember, those two were tied coming into tonight for the overall point standings lead. They're fighting for the regular season championship.
There it goes.
And there's the lights out.
1 lap shootout.
Oh,
so
boy.
all Ulysses has
9 races in the regular season.
all Ulysses has to do is clear the outside lane, get up there to block, and then just mirror drive. That's all he's got to do for 1 lap because you do not get a lot of momentum
No.
on a start.
It is very difficult in one lap's time to generate enough of a run. So to your point, it's about nailing this restart if you're Ulysses Sandoval. Well, we saw when Ulysses got his first career win, that was just all guts and determination. Last week, it was guts in terms of making sure he had enough fuel to get to the end, and he barely was able to get there. Here tonight, fuel strategy again playing in his favor.
This is
he
the
waited
part
till
where
the very last minute to dive onto pit road.
This is the part where I want to put him on my whisper list and whisper him home, but I don't want to risk it tabbing out his game.
No, don't you wreck my boy.
Oh, but you see who's behind him on the inside row. Those are people that are hungry.
Oh, they're drivers that have nothing to lose right now here. Nofsker, Wesley, McClure, they've all got victories.
I mean, to be fair, Ulysses has nothing to lose
That's
either.
True. That's a great point.
I'm just talking about in terms of people who are one hell of a pusher.
Jeff Crivello, he cannot win his way into the playoffs. Rodney Sullins, though, who restarts 6th, he can. Jess can, who's restarting in 8th. Brian Lovell's above the cut line. He's restarting 7th. Oh, boy.
Craig Hagley in our chat says this is about to get good.
Yeah, it is. We've run 8 races so far here in the regular season. We've seen 7 different drivers go to victory lane. The point standings have been about as close as you can get them every single week. And tonight, we are determining at least 12 drivers that will battle for the championship with 1 lap here at the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. If anything breaks out, doesn't matter. We're racing back to the start-finish line of the checkered flag. Here we go.
There we go.
Green and white flag waving.
Oh, there's a bit of a stack up a little bit on the outside. The 88 car gave him a push, but it broke the 88's momentum. Like I said, he's just got to get clear and get up there. Off the corner, he has...
I don't know if you go up there to that outside line.
I don't
I'm
know.
going to be honest with you. I think you bottom feed this lap.
Like you said, you're not going to be able to get a lot of momentum. Third lane's forming.
They're trying. That's Brian Schilling, John Godfrey, Sean Prime back there.
Yep, there you go. Come on, stay down low.
That's gonna hurt that middle line. So I think you're just hugging that yellow line this whole time if you're Ulysses Sandoval.
Stay low, Ulysses. Stay low.
He's got Nofsker behind him, McClure behind him. Here they
Oh,
come
there
off
they go.
turn
They're going
3
to go
and 4.
outside. Come on. Block.
Oh, they're wrecking in the back. Up and over. Oh, Sean Prime catches air. Coming back to the stripe. Nofsker's got the drafting help. And it's going to be Tim Nofsker picking up the victory here in the regular season finale.
Oh, I would have. I mean, again, he didn't have nothing to lose, but...
Well, nothing to lose, everything to gain. He's going to finish ahead of Grant Wesley, so he's going to get the regular season championship. Gives up 5 bonus points with the win for 15 bonus points in the regular season championship. That's a net gain. And Tim Nofsker will now join Ulysses Sandoval as a multi-time winner on the season. Came into this race 18 points out of the points lead, but both Sandoval and Wesley finishing this race up inside of the top 10, top 6 to be more specific. So I don't think he'll be getting those bonus points there, but he'll at least add another 5 bonus points to his total with a victory, a former winner, a former champion, I should say, of this series from a few seasons ago. And we had a massive wreck through what's been the trouble spot here tonight. The center of the tri-oval saw a couple of cars up and over, including Brian Schilling and Jessica Shelton. Sean Prime caught some air with his nose pointed to the sky. A lot of drivers collected up in that one, and so it was kind of a who's who of who was going to be able to get back to the start-finish line and in what position. Well, Nationwide was on the side of Tim Nofsker tonight, as he's going to, in that updated gray Ghost painted by Jason Scheck, going to be burning it down here at Talladega. Pace car goes on by him there.
All right, let me know when we can start talking to people because I'm ready.
Well, we're going to first be looking back at some replays of that wreck coming back to the checkered flag. Nofsker looks like he may be attempting a burnout the entire length of the tri-oval here. He's halfway there.
Whoa! Sorry.
Almost clipped the grass. Gets it back pointed straight. Oh, no, no, no.
Oh, he still got it. He still got
Man,
it.
that's
Oh,
impressive.
okay, there he goes.
He got about, what, maybe 2/3 of it? 2/3 of the tri-oval?
Surprised he still has rear tires.
Right? At this point in time, if it was the next-gen car, those rear flaps would be on fire.
Yep.
Let's go back and take a look. This race ends under caution.
Hit your lap button, Seth. All you gotta do is hit the lap button back.
Yeah, but I'm not going to. You know
It's
why?
faster.
You know why? You know why? You know why? You know why? It's my show.
Okay, we gotta take power away from this man.
Says the man who kicked me from the TeamSpeak earlier on tonight.
Did Cody Lamas get involved in it?
Let's try and figure out how this even starts. There's a lot going
Right there,
on.
yeah.
Bumper grab off of Rodney Sullins there for Brian Schilling.
I don't know. I don't know if Cody made it through or not. I
He hit
can't
the
tell
wall,
through all
but
that
he made
Can't
it
smoke.
see
through.
through the smoke.
Cody Lamas probably gained a top 20 finish from that wreck.
And with all the drivers involved in this, I'm not even going to try and hazard a guess of who's in and who's out.
Oh, and I just realized too, Jess was in that wreck too, and that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
really hurt her
Mhm.
chance. I mean, not that she, wanted to be in that wreck or nothing. It just happened. But the 7-Eleven, I think, clips the 4 right there.
No, I think the four.
Oh,
kinda
no,
like-
he
bumper
clipped
grabs
it.
off the back of Sullins. Wow, look at
Did
the
he?
15 catch air.
Was there
He-
contact between the 4 and
Oh,
the
yeah, there
48?
was.
I don't.
Not the
Definitely
7-Eleven,
was.
but definitely in the it was bumper grab. It was bumper grab.
Mike Mangialardi there, Brian Rawson, pole sitter Bob Dixon in that, Graham McDonald. And he saw a lot of drivers be able to grab a gear and keep going, realizing they had to get back to the start-finish line here. Every position was going to count.
Can we ride on board Cody? I want to see him make it through this.
No.
You're mean. I'm gonna kick you again.
Cody, I think, actually turned the 41 of Denny Carroll as they were trying to
I
make
don't
their
think
way
he
through.
turned. I don't think he turned him. I think he just kind of was like, I can't see, so I'm praying.
I'm not saying he turned him on purpose, but he turned him.
Yeah. I really feel like he definitely got maybe almost the top 15 out of that.
Was there anyone
wanna go to the-
behind this wreck
Met-
that got through it?
Met-
is
I
the
want to see
question.
the.
Metallic
wanna
got
see
the
the
luckiest
helic-
part right there.
I want to see the helicopter view at the start of this thing.
Okay.
Yep, right there.
Wow, Sean Prime getting squeezed there in a combination of Graham McDonald and Brian Schilling. Kelly Causey gets redirected up the track into Brian Rawson. And then there was a follow-up of drivers trying to get through this here. Focus on the 41. We'll stay with the helicopter cam of Denny Carroll. As they were 3 wide trying to get through. There's Terry Bombard. Bernie Mobbs gets halfway
There's
up
Cody
and over.
right there.
Glenn Harris gets clipped. Donnie Cameron gets a piece.
Holy moly! There's a lot of cars that really, and I don't think the 41. And if the 41 did get turned by Cody, it was because he was probably coming down.
It was Terry Bombard that actually got him, but yeah, they were 3 wide trying to get by the wreck. So
And Cody I mean, you can't just lift in that part.
no. Plus, you're coming back to the start-finish line too, so there's positions to be gained. I think Bernie Mobbs gets through this. Let's see.
On the Sitco car.
Oh, nope.
He grabs the gear and kept going.
Camera survived.
I think Doug Hewlett gets through it here. I've been trying to see if I can find somebody that gets through all of this mayhem without getting involved. 23 might have been one of those drivers. He was 29th crossing the line last time by. Let's see where he crosses here. There's the follow-up wreck. He'll get through all that.
I think he just passes Cody right there. So let's see where he
29th
crosses.
to 16th, 13th.
So which means
positions
Cody
picked
got
up.
17th, so he got a top 20. Doug Hewlett, see, it just means always stay true to the last lap because you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
All right, Seth. I think that brings us to our post race.
Well, we got to look at the finishing results here.
Well, that's part of
Nofsker-
post race, isn't it?
Maybe it's the pre-post race.
Pre-post.
The post pre-post race. Nofsker with the victory. He was already locked in with a checkered flag earlier on this season, but he now adds to that total. Chuck McClure, another former winner, finishes second, and Ulysses Sandoval, another former two-time winner, finishes on the podium. So those three drivers, they were already locked in, but hey, some good momentum for them going into the playoffs as well. Jeff Crivello is going to bring it home in fourth. Greg Lovell in fifth. Grant Wesley will finish sixth, so he'll be locked into the playoffs. Ken Roberts, seventh. Brian Lovell, 8th place, so he should be going playoff racing as he was above the cut line. Rodney Sullins, he was below the cut line, though. He led, I think it was race high 18 laps and finished 9th. Was that enough to get above the cut line? We'll have to wait and see. John Godfrey in 10th. He was also below the cut line. Did he do enough to get up above 12th in the standings? We'll have to wait for
Metallic
those points there. Yep, 11th for Metallic, so he should be locked in on points. Breedlove brings it home in 12th. Jeremy Jeffries was already locked in on a victory, 13th for him. Billy Elliser in 14th. Seminara, who we saw have that contact on pit road, that caution kind of saved him. He finishes 15th, but I don't think that'll be enough for him to get above the cut line. Doug Hewlett, Cody Lamas, Donnie Cameron, Bobby Farrell, Glenn Harris, the rest of the top 20. Terry Bombard going to finish in 21st, I believe. Let me just double check here. I believe that is going to have Terry Bombard win the winner's side of the bracket, as Brian Schilling is going to finish down in 35th. So Bombard will now be waiting for his future opponent for the Bracket Challenge Championship. Despite bringing it home outside of the top 20, Bernie Mobbs, who we were on board with there, had that half flip, 22nd. Greg Palmer's already locked in. He was 23rd. David Cannon, Jessica Schulten, the rest of the top 25. Ron Hagelin, Kelly Causey, Denny Carroll. We'll have to see if 28th was enough for him to stay above the cut line, with Mike Mangialotti, Brian Ross, and the rest of the top 30. Sean Prime, he came into this race in a critical spot. He was 11th in the standings. He was only 3 points to the good, and he's going to finish back in 31st. Does that drop him below the cut line? Cy Jones, 32nd. Bob Dixon started from the pole, 33rd for our pole sitter. Graham McDonald and Brian Schilling were the last drivers to cross the line under power. Schilling's already locked in with a victory, but as mentioned, he's going to lose out, at least on the winner's side of the bracket. And Pat McCarskey, Mark Paglia were the two drivers who did not reach the conclusion. So that'll bring us into our FRN post-race wind down. We will wait for the point standings to be accumulated here to know officially by the end of this broadcast who is in and who is out. But let's dial up the drivers that brought it home. In the top three, all three of them going to be going playoff racing, and the driver we're about to dial up right now is going to be the Season 65 regular season champion.
User was moved to your channel.
Ulysses, it's Kyle, Michael, and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Hello, guys.
My guy, why did you not block?
Because you say stay planted to the bottom.
Were
You
you
did.
listening to me?
Yeah.
Did you not hear me scream block?
Do you not realize your screaming has about a 10-second delay thanks to YouTube?
That's
Yeah.
right, it does. It does. It really does.
Yeah, that's
No,
what
but
I heard. By the time I was in the trial, I heard stay to the bottom, stay to the bottom. Okay.
No,
'Cause I
but
was
you
already
knew that
outside.
he was gonna come out. I was gonna put you on a whisper list and then like whisper you home, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want that to tab out his game.
Well, think of
Well-
it as too. I kind of was saying here as well. I don't blame you for not trying to block though as well, because big
Yeah.
picture racing. Yes, you want to get that third victory on the season, but you're also battling Grant. You guys came in locked even on points for the regular season championship, and whether you brought it home with a win or bring it home in third, you finished ahead of the 88, and you're going to be carrying some valuable bonus points with that regular season championship into the playoffs.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying he also could have came in with 20 extra points had he won the race and finished ahead. But I'm just saying.
What I want to know is what happened early on in that first caution. It looked like your car just slowed down. What was the cause of that?
Oh yeah, about that is an app that I get that I'm about to uninstall right now because it popped up on front of me and it froze the whole game. When I came back, I was spinning and I thought, oh, I think I know what's going on. Also, my mic wasn't working, so I was trying to talk with the boys, and I couldn't. They were like, did I run you over? I think you got mad, and he's not talking." I was, "Hey guys, can you hear me?" So yeah, I was figuring out the first few laps, trying to talk with them back. But yeah, this app, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna make sure I don't get any interference while racing. It happened tonight. It happened Monday. Hopefully, I don't break more cars coming into the next races. I was thinking about not breaking people actually on the last lap. Blocking people it was going to be dangerous because those guys behind me had a run either way because they got around me somehow. So they had a run. If I block it, I might put them in the wall, and there was already a wreck. I didn't want to get stuff a bit a little worse. We had last interview that Michael told me, why you went back to the bottom, but he wasn't there when on TeamSpeak when I blog, and they weren't happy with me when I blog, so I get back in my lane. So yeah, I'm just trying to not to get people angry, trying to, I'm the wrecking ball guy, but I don't want you guys to fear me for my nickname. My nickname is just a mock of of that, not a reality, you know.
Listen, it's the last lap. Blocking. I mean, you went up to try to throw the block. I would have stayed. If it was me personally, I would have stayed up there and probably got wrecked. Mainly, but that would have been because didn't have nothing to lose anyways.
And then you would have had a
But
lot of enemies.
I probably would have, but I would have been like, at the same time, I'd have been like, bro, it's racing. You block to try to win. You don't just cave. I mean,
Well,
respect is one thing, but
Well, yeah, but I don't have much regret as I did the last previous races when I had regrets of making moves. I This time I'm just happy that I'm topping points. I'm going for the chase with a good advantage. Yeah, unlike last time, I had to fight my way up. So hopefully everything goes well in the chase. You know how's the chase. You might have a good regular season, but then in the chase, you just don't stuff doesn't go your way on the first round, and so yeah. Hopefully everything goes well coming up into the chase. We'll see if the second try will do it for the championship. Because I'm in top in points. I'm really confident coming up.
speaking of things going your way here, back-to-back podium finishes, and both of them have been with some interesting fuel strategy. We saw you get your second win last week where, we didn't realize how close you were in potentially running out of fuel. And here tonight, the timing of the yellow, you stay out about the longest of anybody. You come down pit road the latest. The caution comes out, and you just have to get yourself to the start-finish line there to restart as the leader on that final restart. Some crucial moments here in terms of fuel strategy. Do you feel like that's going to maybe be a trend for you here going into the playoffs?
Well, I hope it would work because it was a gamble. Being the last guy who will pit. The reason I was gonna be the last, I'm gonna join the last few people to pit is, I could get a little advantage, because I'm not lifting. I'm just, pressing the throttle. I'm gonna get a big jump when I get out of pit road and get in front of the draft. It wasn't like that actually, because when I got out, the whole field just passed me after I took the check. But when we were on pizza, I wasn't thinking about that. I was taking my service, and then the yellow came out. I said on TeamSpeak, I said to Doug, the yellow so just go. I was pressing the throttle on pizza. Just go. Stop giving me fuel. You go. It was really intense. You can imagine how much I was saying on my whisper and on my mind. Just go. I took and after I took the yellow, even dog was like, how is that even works? I mean, hopefully we get another lap. I was praying not to have another lap of racing, and dog was like, no, we're gonna get another one. You're not gonna win this race. You're not gonna. And it happened. He cursed me, but
Well, still some great momentum for you here. 2 victories on the regular season. You add in the bonus points for the regular season championship here as well. Should be the #1 seed when we get these playoff standings all put together here, and then setting your sights on Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway next week to begin this chase for the championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series. Congratulations on the great run here tonight, Ulysses. Congratulations on being the regular season champion, and we'll now give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Oh, thank you guys. I can imagine. When got started here about what a year ago, I didn't imagine I would reach this far. You know, fighting with the top guys, with the 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 heaviest guys. You know, the top runners. So, oh man, isn't it? I don't believe it. I don't believe that this is happening. But I also want to race even more. I want to race Monday, Tuesday. You know, we have the firecracker coming up, so I'm really addicted to to this type of races. Intense. My nervousness, my blood pressure, my heart beating goes high. You know, this is why we race for. You know, to the emotions we get when we fight for that checker flag. So. We'll see you Saturday and Monday. Hopefully, I don't. Hopefully, I don't bring more people coming up. That coming up races. So, all right. Big shout. I'm just gonna dedicate this win to Mama Sandoval. Thanks, to Mama Sandoval. You know, thanks, Mama. And yeah, hopefully, we'll see you next time.
That's Jose Sandoval. He is your regular season champion here in season 65. He'll be going playoff racing starting next week at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the podium finish here tonight to close out the regular season.
Grounded by Michael, but I'm still standing. See you guys.
User was
Sandoval
moved
bringing it
out of
home
your
in
channel.
third place. Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that kicked the season off with a victory. Finishes it out with a podium finish, Chuck McClure.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey Chuck, it's Michael, Kyle, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I got you guys.
Well, it's been an up and down season for this 17 car. You got the season kicked off, locked up a playoff position with the victory in the season opener. You've had 4 top 5s here during the course of this regular season, but also had 4 finishes outside of the top 20. Last 2 finishes, though, inside the top 5. 5th place last week, 2nd place here tonight. Pretty good portion of the season to start getting that momentum back here with the playoffs looming.
Yeah, it's coming at the right time for sure. It looked like it was going way downhill quick there for a little while, but thank God we rebounded a little bit to make the chase.
We saw that it was going to be a one-lap shootout here tonight. We knew it was going to be crazy, and we saw you and a number of our former winners up there at the front, so pretty much had the idea that you guys were going into this final lap. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. If you get a victory, there's some more bonus points that you can add to your playoff total. Was that what it kind of felt like there in that scenario, and was that the mentality you had for that final 2.66 miles?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted a good finish. I wanted to push Tim all I could. Was pretty sure he had enough fuel, but wanted to leave myself a little bit of room in case he didn't. We like to work together, so of course I'm going to push him, and he would have done the same for me there too.
We've seen a lot of crazy scenarios here, specifically in this season. We've seen the points maybe the closest we've ever seen them from top to bottom of the point standings. We've seen a lot of different things take place in these races, some massive wrecks. The last 2 races have ended on fuel strategies. So what does that do for a driver's mentality heading into the playoffs now? It's now crunch time. Every position, every point is going to matter in terms of if you're moving on to the next round or not. When we eventually get to that final round, who's going to get the most points to win the championship? I mean, does it maybe change your mentality than what it's been in previous seasons?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Just crazy things are happening for whatever reason. Um, yeah, you just never know. You have to take every spot you can get when you can get it toward the end of these races because you sure don't want to be left out, especially by a small margin.
Well, Chuck, a great run for you here tonight. You end off the regular season with a podium finish. As mentioned, some good finishes here the last 2 races, so some good momentum going into next week here as you'll be fighting for yet another championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series. We wish you luck on that. Congratulations on the great run this evening. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
I appreciate it. I want to thank you guys for putting on a great show. I love to go back and watch these things. I have a few friends that also like to go back and rewatch them. So you guys do a great job. Rodney for the paint, and of course all the admins here at RTG. Without them, we don't get to do this and have fun. And all the competitors, they seem to have stepped it up uh, a little better, more clean this past race. Last week was not the case, but that's over with, and we're going to race clean from here on out. And I got a lot of family and friends watching, and everybody at Marshall County Schools. I want to say hey, and just thank my teammates as well, Mark, and congratulations on the win, Tim and Brian. There, I don't know what happened toward the end, but unfortunate for him.
Well, Chuck McClure, he brings it home second place here tonight in the regular season finale. Was already locked into the playoffs with his victory in the season opener, and he'll now set his sights on a championship here in season 65. Congratulations again on the great run here tonight. Hopefully see you carry this momentum into the playoff opener next week at BSR.
Appreciate it, guys.
Chuck McClure, your runner-up finisher here tonight. And let's
User
see
was
if we
moved out
can
of your
dial up
channel.
our second multi-time winner on the season. Tonight's race winner, Tim Nofsker.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Tim, it's Michael, Kyle, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I do.
Well, we were just talking moments ago with Chuck, who's got some good momentum with his finishes the last couple of weeks. You yourself with some good momentum down the home stretch here. We won't talk about 3 weeks ago at Talladega, but we look at 3 of your previous 4 finishes now. A second, and a win here this evening. You rack up some more bonus points as well towards the playoffs with your victory here tonight. You were already locked in by race 3 with your first victory on the season. So, like I said there with Chuck, a pretty good time of the season to get hot here now with the playoffs beginning next week.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I seem to thrive toward the end of the season in the playoffs. That's kind of where I shine, I guess. So I like the pressure. It's fun.
Only 1 lap led here tonight. It was the all-important final lap. You get a nice slingshot move there off of 4 to be able to get to the outside of Ulysses. You had the drafting help there as well. I mean, I was mentioning about the fact we had so many drivers up there, yourself, Chuck, Ulysses, Grant was up there, a bunch of drivers that were already locked in on victories, so it kind of seemed like you were all kind of 1v1ing each other to see who was maybe going to get that extra 5 bonus points once the playoff standings were reformatted.
Well, I knew that from the prior, I think the first wreck, I knew the old 96 had damage. He kind of caught a fortunate break with the timing of the caution. I got a pretty good look at his car after that first wreck, and I knew that he had damage. I had damage. I couldn't lead at all. And I had another little secret. I was short on gas. Coming into the pits, it was wavering between 1 can and a half can. And right when I clicked it down before I hit in my pit stall, it only gave me a splash.
Oh, wow.
So I was a lap short till that caution. So that was my secret. But everything worked out, and I was able to save under that caution. Even though it was an abbreviated caution, I was able to get that lap back and race it up for the win.
You know, I mentioned this to Chuck. I'll mention it to you as well because you've been here before. You've been in the playoffs. You've won a championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series. We've seen a lot of unusual things here in this regular season. The point stands have been super close. We've had some massive game-changing wrecks. A lot of drivers have had difficulty finding some sense of consistency here this season with a great run 1 week and then maybe a DNF or finish outside the top 20 the following week, which I think is what's made these points as close as they are. With that being said, now going forward here into these 6 playoff races, is there a difference of mentality approaching the playoffs now than there has been in seasons past?
Well, I hope that we can get a little bit more consistency with our runs. I think I mentioned it last week. There's just been no flow to the season, where usually we'll have a couple rough races to start with, and then things kind of smooth out, and we start getting a lot more green flag pit stops. And it's just been, and it's been some of the weirdest things. Tonight we had a guy drop the desktop. I mean, just some of the crazier things that it just seems like we can't get uncorked here.
Well, Well, Tim, a great run for you here tonight. Second victory on the season. Become the second multi-time winner on the season as well. As mentioned, helps you be able to garner some extra bonus points here towards the playoffs. Checking here right now, I believe that you're going to be finishing in the regular season standings in third, and we didn't document that positioning in the standings. I believe in the top 10 also indicates some bonus points in your direction as well. So should have you in a pretty high seeding here once the playoff standings are all put together, and as mentioned as well, some really good momentum going into the first playoff race next week. So we'll let you get back to your celebrating here in just a moment, but first we're going to give you the opportunity here for some victory lane. Thank you, sponsors and shoutouts.
Well, obviously, I have to thank Chuck. He got me that win. He gave me some great momentum and a great push, and I got to give a special thanks to Grant and Brian. We all pitted early. I know that Chuck and Brian and I had planned on pitting early. I think Grant kind of jumped on the bandwagon, but I love drafting with Grant, but he's such a formidable competitor that I want to run with him, but then I'm helping him or he's helping me and vice versa. But I do love running with Grant. And like I said, Brian, he helped me in the middle of the race, and he's always, I love running with Brian too. And Mark Paglia, he kind of came out on the bad end. He's just had a dismal season. Hopefully he can scrape together some good finishes here in the playoffs. Also want to thank you guys for doing such a great job. And I want to thank Bones Prime, Jason Check, who actually painted this skin for me, and I love it. This is probably one of the greatest places to race in NR 2003. And, the numbers and the number of drivers that we have, and not just drivers, but quality drivers that we have, kind of showcases that. And other than that, I want to thank Josh and Rodney for doing the admitting with me on Thursdays. That's always pretty seamless with those guys around.
Well, Tim, congratulations on your second victory on the season, and best of luck to you here going forward in the playoffs as you look for another championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Tim Nofsker wins the regular season finale here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. This, of course, as mentioned, is going to be the venue where just about everything's going to be decided. Both of our elimination races here, where we whittle the field down from our original group to 7, and then eventually to our final 4. And, of course, as well, in the 2-race culmination in the final round, this will be the venue where the championship will ultimately be decided in the overall season finale. Well, the points have been calculated. The results are in. We are going to have 13 drivers that will actually be battling it out for the championship here in season 65, and they are as follows. Ulysses Sandoval, we talked with him, bringing it home in the 3rd position. He is going to win the regular season championship by 4 points over Grant Wesley, who was already locked in with a victory. Nofsker, who picks up the victory here tonight, he moved up to 3rd in overall standings. Jeremy Jeffries, another former winner, was 4th. Josh Metallic was the highest driver in the points without a victory here in the regular season. He was 5th. Chuck McClure moved up 7 spots after his run-up finish. He was 6th. Brian Lovell will point his way in 7th. Greg Palmer with a win was 8th. Terry Bombard will also point his way in 9th. Denny Carroll will hang on for 10th. Rodney Sullins gained 4 spots to move up to 11th, and Sean Prime gets the final points-paying position to lock himself into the playoffs in 12th. Brian Schilling lost 4 spots there, but he had a victory earlier on this season, so he will get in being inside the top 20 in the point stands, but outside of the top 12 in a provisional wildcard spot. So 13 drivers, the lucky 13, unlucky 13, I don't know what you want to call it here, but based on how you feel about that number, but 13 drivers will battle it out for the championship starting next week. And if I can quickly eyeball it here, I believe that there are 6 of those 13 that have previously won a championship or championships here in this series. Yeah, I don't trust mine either. So that's 7 drivers right there that have a chance of maybe getting their very first championship here in the Talladega Challenge Series. Good talk.
Was that a sneeze or was that just us giggling? Because
I think that was a double
I
giggle.
I didn't know that you were actually talking to us. I thought you were just making a statement. I'm not gonna lie.
But no, I mean, I'm going to ask you guys kind of the same question I was asking a couple of those drivers here. Like, what do you think the driver mentality has got to be here now? Because a lot of times, when we get to a race like next week, the first race of a round, a lot of the playoff drivers treat it as must win. Because if you win, guess what? You're locked into the next round. But as we've seen here, and Tim alluded to this, there's been no opportunity to really be able to get into a sense of rhythm. And a lot of drivers have been up here in the top 10 in the point standings, but if we look at their finishing results, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. There's very rarely a string of good finishes, and that's, like I said, a big reason why the points have been so close together. With all the fluctuation of points that there have been, and now considering that 13 of the 35 to 40 drivers we're going to see each week are battling for playoff spots, so a lot more points are on the table. Do we think must win, or do we think consistency here specifically in this upcoming first round?
I think you try for consistency. I mean, I don't think you can ever go wrong trying to win it out, being consistent. But there's also too many things that can happen as well. So I don't know, either one.
I mean, consistency is always the key, right? So you got to be consistent and try not to be in as much wrecks. It's the only way you're going to be able to survive through the rounds.
Well, 13 drivers will start this journey. In the conclusion of the next two races, 7 will move on. After the next two races, it'll be our final 4. So we talked about the 12th in the standings cut line here tonight. We'll be talking about 7th in the standings in the upcoming 2 following races. But congratulations to all those that locked themselves into this season's postseason in the playoffs. Congratulations to Tim Nofsker as he picks up his 2nd win on the season in tonight's regular season finale. Thank you all for tuning to our coverage here tonight. Again, as you heard Ulysses allude to, tune in on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we'll be bringing you coverage of the Primetime Racing League's Firecracker 400, and we'll be back here next Thursday night to begin the playoffs for Season 65 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. For Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, I'm Seth Cole. Have a happy 4th of July, everybody, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.